I'm Maria Brown, welcome back. Well, I hope you like comfort food because we're making some today. Now remember, hit that subscribe button. Okay, come on, let's go get started. Okay, today we're going to make the most delicious macaroni and cheese. People always ask me for my recipe and I'm going to give it to you today. We're going to start with a pound of pasta. This you're going to cook separately. Cook it in boiling salted water for 3 minutes less than it says on the package. This says 9 to 10 minutes, so I'll probably cook this for about 6 minutes. You want to make sure that the pasta is cooked but still firm. Okay, we also need a stick of butter. If you have unsalted, that would be great. You could use salted if you don't have it. This is a 9 by 13 inch baking dish. I'm going to use this to butter it. This is how I do it. I took this straight out of the freezer and I just hold on to the paper and I'm just going to butter the whole thing. I make sure I get really well into the corners and all the way up the sides, and I'm going to go all the way around. That's going to use 1 to 2 tablespoons of butter to coat this whole thing. The rest of it we're going to use for the recipe. Make sure you've got 6 tablespoons of butter for the recipe. It's fine if it's 7, but I wouldn't go less than 6. With the butter, you're going to need a half a cup of flour. Now you can make this whole recipe gluten-free. You just would use gluten-free flour and gluten-free pasta. We're also going to need 6 cups of milk. I used whole milk. One time I didn't have enough milk. I only had 4 cups of milk, so I added 2 cups of half and half, and it was so delicious. More calories, but so good. So you can substitute what you have. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Substitute regular salt if that's all you have. Here I've got a 1/4 teaspoon each of cayenne pepper and freshly grated black pepper. And I also have a half a teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. If you want a little tang, you can throw in a half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. That is optional. Now, as far as the cheeses are concerned, I use 3 cups of cheddar and then an additional 1.5 cups of cheddar. This is going to be for the topping. So it's 4.5 cups altogether. You can use either Gruyere cheese, which is Swiss cheese, or you can use American and just grate it up yourself. So here I've got 2 cups. This is American cheese, but I do love it with Gruyere. I just didn't have any. Then I've also got 1.5 cups of, you can either use grated pecorino or you could use Parmesan. They're similar. The flavor's a little bit different, but you can certainly substitute one for the other. So 1 cup is going to go into the sauce itself and a half a cup is going to go into the topping bowl. I'll just put that in there right now. In addition, this is a 5-ounce bag of potato chips. I'm going to crush these up and I'm going to mix that in there with the cheese for the topping. You could also substitute about 6 slices of a good quality white bread and just tear it into 1/4 inch size pieces, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch pieces, and then just throw that in the bowl as well. That's for the topping. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cook the pasta. At the same time, we're going to preheat the oven. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. After we make that pasta, we're also going to work on making a cheese sauce. We'll cook the pasta, and once that is cooked, we're going to mix it into the cheese sauce, and the whole thing goes in the pan with the topping, and the whole thing goes in the oven. Okay, let's go. I've completely buttered my baking dish, and I'm just going to set this aside. Now that the water's boiling, I just added about a 1/4 cup of salt to the water. This is the only chance you get to flavor your pasta. I'm going to put the whole thing in, and I'm going to taste one after about 6 minutes. I just want to make sure that it is cooked through, but still firm. Set my timer for 6 minutes. That pasta is ready after 6 minutes. I'm going to just drain this and rinse it well under cold water to stop the cooking. You don't want that to overcook because it continues to cook in the oven. Let that drain and set that aside until we're ready to mix it in the cheese sauce. So here I'm just going to melt the butter. Okay, the butter is melted and now in goes the flour. And we're just going to keep stirring this. If it's not bubbling, if it's not doing anything, you need to turn that heat up ever so slightly because you want to cook this mixture. And just keep stirring it and do this for 3 to 5 minutes. That is going to be your thickening agent for your cheese sauce. Now I'm adding in 1 cup of milk at a time. Once it's all incorporated, add another cup. So you're going to end up adding 3 cups. Afterwards, we'll put in the other 3 cups. I've got 2 cups of milk in here right now. I'm gonna add another. Give that a good stir. That should be bubbling ever so slightly. You wanna make sure that you're cooking this before you add the rest of the milk in. Keep stirring it because you don't want it to burn. If I stop stirring, you can see the little bubbles. Okay, after you've added your 3rd cup and you've really incorporated it well, then go ahead and add the rest of the milk. So it's 3 more cups now. All at one time. And just work that in. Make sure that the milk is heated up. All of our spices go in, our salts, our other spices. If you're using Worcestershire, go ahead and throw that in. And then in go the cheeses. Here's the cheddar. Here's your American or Gruyere, or you can substitute any kind of cheese. You could even use mozzarella, but it doesn't really have a lot of flavor, but you can certainly use mozzarella too. Just any cheeses that you have that will melt. It should be cheddar, but the white cheese could be anything else. And I'm also going to add in the pecorino romano. This again could be Parmigiano. It all goes in and stir it up. Get any chunks out of there. You want to make sure that it's melted. Once that's all melted, the next thing we do is throw the cooked pasta in here. You do want that cheese to melt down into that mixture. What I want you to do is grab a spoon, probably not the spoon you're stirring with. Take a spoon and I want you to taste this sauce because this is going to be the flavor of your mac and cheese. If you like it with a little more kick, go ahead and put some more cayenne pepper in there. If it tastes too bland, maybe you didn't put enough salt in. Now that the cheese has pretty much melted all the way down, take a little taste. Don't need a lot, just a little taste. Oh, that's perfect. Some people like a lot of heat. This is where you would add the extra flavor right now. Let's turn the heat off and the pasta goes right in. Give that a good stir. Now this, we're going to go and pour into our prepared pan. Now I've poured the whole thing right in. Set this aside for a moment. I'm gonna crush all these chips. I'm going to mix them together in the bowl. Gee, I hope I got a big enough bowl. This is the topping. Mix those all together. We've got it all mixed up and now we're just sprinkling it on top. Get that all on there. Spread that around evenly. And the last thing you do is spray it with a little cooking spray. That's gonna crisp up that top. Into the oven this goes for 30 minutes-ish. You want it bubbling and you want that crispy on top and you're done. That's been 30 minutes. Can you see the bubbles in that? Oh my gosh, it looks so good. This is delicious. You are going to love this. Just take it out and let it set up for 5 or 10 minutes before you serve it. Until next time, I'm Maria Brown. Thanks for watching.